I don't go and listen to music that I don't like. You're not going to see me go and throw in Bad Company. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to go, ooh, you know what band I really despise? Bread. Where can I find my Bread CD and listen to that? Because I really don't. That's it. That doesn't happen. I don't sit at home on a Friday night with a bottle of my Merlot in a really great mood because I wrapped up a great week and think, what's the worst movie I can think of to watch? I know, Beautician and the Beast. I'll watch that. And yet, there are people that listen to this show all the time. Why? Because NPR is really boring. That's why. Probably. So, got another email. You ready? Here we go. Now, we're going to go back a little bit because it started off with, and I read a portion of it last hour, but I think you and your pal Frank Antinori are gift horses to the Democratic Party. Keep on thinking the Hispanic vote is a myth and that it had nothing to do with Bush Jr. winning. But time will prove you both as fools who preached a myth that is a reality. Now, as we talked about before, when you look at just the facts, and that is percentage of voters, what their backgrounds are, what parties they vote for. We've seen time and time again, the Hispanic vote usually turns out in a certain number, a certain percentage for the GOP, and that has not wavered much over past elections, especially ones in which Republicans have won. And again, looking at the last election, you could have flip-flopped. And we're talking about the current state of politics. Barack Obama's 70% of the Hispanic vote to Mitt Romney's 23%, and you still would have seen, unfortunately, a Mitt Romney lost. Okay. He goes on to say, I, for one, as a registered Democrat, hope your fans keep believing your rhetoric and never wake up! Exclamation point. You and your appointed buddy have accomplished nothing to gain a foothold in southern Arizona for the GOP. Let me stop here real quick. I can't speak for Frank Antinori, but for me personally, once again, do I have to mention this is about entertainment at the end of the day. I'm into politics. I talk about what I enjoy, but my goal here on this show is not to get members elected to office. Now, do I have individuals on who are running for office? Absolutely. Do I hope for the best for them? Absolutely. Do I vote for them? Yes. Would I encourage other individuals to do so? Yes, but they can make up their own minds. But that the goal of this show is not to get people elected. If it was, I'd be an utter failure. The goal is to keep me entertained. That's the honest me entertained. Because if I'm not entertained, you certainly aren't going to be entertained. All right. Let's see. I find your stand on healthcare amusing. For a fellow who has had major heart issues at such a young age. I am 60 and have the blood pressure of a 20-year-old. Well, technically speaking, the blood pressure of a 20-year-old should be the blood pressure of a 40-year-old or a 60-year-old because, 120 over 80 is pretty standard. I'm just saying. I just there's not a whole lot of fluctuation going on there. You kind of want to, okay. I feel a twinge of pity for you, but only a twinge. Since karma is a funny thing, your hatred, bigotry, racism, and xenophobia is likely taking you to an eventual karmic moment you cannot imagine. Xenophobia. I fear xenomorphs. Scary, but Breitbart was filled with so much hatred his heart finally gave out. Time will tell how you face the moment you meet Jesus. Personally, I pity you, since I truly doubt you have the capacity to see you're a blind biblical goat headed for a flock of goats and not sheep. Of course, now you folks brought in an Uncle Tom to try to help sway them black voters, but historically, that game will never work. He thinks he's speaking of James T. Harris. I wonder what James T. Harris has to say about that. It depends on your game fooling them black folks into knowing the GOP adopted all them angry Dixiecrats back in the 1960s. Some might have grown old and senile, but not all! Exclamation point. Methinks thou dost protest too much. But you know what? Keep right on watching. Keep right on listening. I am happy to have you, and God bless from this hateful, bigotry, racism, xenophobic talk show host who's here to entertain. More of the John Justice Show coming up. If you'd like to email me, justice@1041thetruth.com. Right talk for Tucson.